Hi everyone, thank you very much for joining me. I'm Lucy Jane Matthews and I'm a Great Britain Junior 100 metre hurdler. I'm really looking forward to answering all of your questions. We've got a lovely variety of them, so hopefully this will be nice and insightful for you. I just wanted to take the time to thank Wiltshire Council so much for their unwavering support over the years. They've supported me since 2014, initially with a sports scholarship, and more recently in the past 2 years with their Funding Future Olympians and Paralympians Elite Athlete grant. It's made a huge difference to me and my development as an athlete, and I really am truly grateful. Thank you so much to everyone at Wiltshire Council for your support. It really means a lot. So I think, without further ado, with that being said, let's get on with the questions. Okay, so I have your questions here and we'll make a start. So the first question is, what specific event or who in particular was your inspiration when starting athletics? Well, for me, I was always an athletic toddler, if you like. I was always running around, jumping, very competitive as well. Everything that I did, I had to jump the furthest, run the fastest. Nothing's changed. And at nursery, I'd always want to join in with the older kids at sports day, and a couple of times they actually did let me, and I absolutely loved it. It was just so much fun. And I vividly remember London 2012, watching Jessica Ennis on the television, and she was embodying and encapsulating all of the things that I love to do, all the running, all the jumping. She truly made me realise that I wanted to be an athlete. I was watching her and I was thinking to myself, I'll have some of that. That is what I want to do. So London 2012, watching Jessica Ennis, is the initial sort of flame for me of wanting to be an athlete. And a little anecdote for you. London 2017, the World Champs, I was lucky enough to watch both days of the heptathlon, and we were staying in a hotel very near to the Olympic Stadium. Now, we got in the lift going to our afternoon session of the heptathlon, and it was just me and my mum in the lift, and we heard someone say, "Hold the lift," and we were like, okay, kind of in a hurry, but okay. And who should walk in but Jessica Ennis herself? And of course, I played it really cool and started crying. I was just so overwhelmed by seeing a true hero of mine in such close proximity. So that was my close encounter with Jess, and we actually watched her receive her upgraded medal of a gold medal. She received it in the stadium on the afternoon session of the heptathlon, and that was incredible. And I was quite near to the front, and she glanced in my direction, and I like to think she thought, there's the crazy crying lift girl. But anyway, as I say, London 2012, watching Jess, that's where truly my initial infancy of just being athletic truly turned into a career path. So, next question. You started out on Wiltshire Council's Star Track Athletics camp. I did. What role and support has the Star Track camps played over the years, and do you feel they've been beneficial for you? 100%. So, as I was saying, when I was younger, I would just always be just running around the place. And in the holidays, I went to Star Trek, and it was an outlet for my ambitions and my competitiveness, and I could really kind of display those qualities in a really healthy environment. It definitely solidified the fact to me that I wanted to be an athlete. It was such an encouraging environment, and there's one guy I want to give a shout out to, and that's Rob. And he was my coach for that, and he was the funniest man ever, and he was so encouraging to me. As an 11-year-old, I walked up to him and I basically told him that I had what it takes to be a professional athlete, which is very bold of an 11-year-old to say, and who knows, perhaps that will come to fruition. But he didn't dismiss it. He totally believed in me, and he encouraged me to get training sessions, and I'm sat here in a Great Britain top. So that's where it all started. Perhaps Rob is the reason for all my success. Would you recommend Star Trek camps to any young aspiring 7 to 8-year-old athletes? As I say, 100%. It's such a great introduction to athletics. It was an awesome opportunity to develop and learn new skills, and it's such an encouraging environment. It really, I loved my time at Star Trek so much, and I'm very grateful that I was able to attend those. Okay, the next question, who has inspired you? There's a lot of people that inspire me for different reasons. As I've said, Jessica Ennis was that initial inspiration that took me down this path of wanting to be an athlete. since becoming more focused on the hurdles, I'll touch later on that I kind of dabbled in combined events at the start. Kenny Harrison, the American world record holder, in the 100-meter hurdle, she is a huge inspiration to me for the reason, so many reasons, but I guess the main one is she's had to overcome so many setbacks. She's been doubted by people an awful lot. I guess this biggest thing perhaps for her is she failed to make the Olympic team, the American Olympic team, for the Rio Olympics. And then the very next race, she goes and runs the world record. So she's the best there's ever been. And I was lucky enough to actually be in the stadium when she ran that time. That is something I will always remember, because it was actually quite, it was just a crazy moment, because she crossed the line and the clock didn't stop, and then all of a sudden it just popped up world record, and the whole crowd went crazy, and it was such an incredible moment, an amazing moment for her. Having had that setback, she put it behind her and she moved on, and that's just something that you can learn an awful lot from. Another person for kind of similar reasons is Sally Pearson, Olympic champion, world champion. She's fought back from so many injuries. I've had an awful lot of injuries myself, which I'm going to touch on. And she won the hurdles in London 2012 and London 2017 as well. She's just somebody that she's never given up. She self-coached for quite a while. She just had that constant self-belief, and she's somebody that I think I can learn an awful lot from, and I do every day. And then, as I say, there's so many people that inspire me, but I guess number one is, of course, my mum, who without her, I would not be able to do any of this. I would not be able to realise my dreams, and she's the woman that's given up her dreams so I can live mine. So I'm forever grateful to her, and she's a huge inspiration to me. So, next question. Hurdles is quite a specific event. Were there any other events you preferred first, and what made you focus solely on the hurdles? So, when I was younger, I took most naturally to the hurdles. The first time I ran over them, I just kind of managed to do it. It wasn't pretty, but I was able to do it. So that was always sort of my natural calling, if you like. But I just loved athletics, and I enjoyed every single event. So I started off in combined events, and I like to think that avenue's not fully closed just yet. But I've experienced a lot of injuries, as I just touched on, and my body struggled to meet the demands of all the events whilst it was growing. You can't really see, but I'm a very tall person, and I struggled to do the combined events without suffering pain and just difficulties. And in one heptathlon in 2018, the first event is the hurdles and the heptathlon, and I actually ran the European under-18 qualifying time for the hurdles in the first event, and it was like, that's the first time I've run that event, and I ran that time, and it was a little bit shocking to say the least. And then I went on to qualify for the European Under-18 Championships at 15. I was the youngest in the team, and all of a sudden I was a Great Britain athlete in hurdles. So that heptathlon was sort of the axis in which my ambitions kind of turned on. I initially wanted to be a combined eventer, but all of a sudden I was seeing great success in the hurdles, and at the European Under-18 Championships I actually came 5th and ran an age 15 British record for that event. So that kind of encouraged me to stick with it, and from then I've kind of gone from strength to strength. So initially combined events, but for now we're hurdles, and I love every second of it. It's such a fun event, it's exciting to watch. I'm biased, but I do think it's the best viewing event. How much attention to detail needs to be paid in your training sessions to develop and improve performance in such a technical event like the 100-meter hurdles? Well, recently actually I've changed my training and coaching setup, and that combined with me being admitted onto the British Athletics Olympic Futures programme has meant that I've really sort of stepped up my level of technical training. Previously to this, I really had not had a lot of technical training. It was more sort of me feeling out the event and just doing my best, really. But as I say, since I've had those two changes, I've experienced much high-level coaching, and it really has enabled me to make technical changes, sort of unpick my technique, and really just reassemble myself in a much improved way. Lucy 2.0, if you like. High level coaching makes a huge difference. I'm somebody that really benefits from just technical talk and then trying to make those changes, and it's really helped me, and I'm excited once this whole difficult period of COVID-19 has passed. I'm excited to get competing and hopefully demonstrate the improvements that I feel like I've made. So the exciting thing for me is I'm very much in the early stages of my development. As I say, I'm in the infancy of actually experiencing this technical coaching, and I just think there's so much more improvement and gain for me to get, and I'm really excited to see that unfold. Okay, the next question. Can you describe the feeling of breaking the age 16 British record held by the legendary Sally Gunnell and the British under-18 record for the 100-metre hurdles? Yes, I can. So in May 2018, this was my third ever run over the hurdles. I set a new UK age 16 best of 13.53 seconds, and that replaced the record of 13.71 held by Sally. So that was incredible and unexpected. I wanted to be running that kind of time because I did have my eyes set on trying to qualify for the European under-20 champs later that year. But as I say, it was really quite early in the season and I wasn't expecting to go that far, so I was really pleased with that. And then later in the season I actually went on to lower that even further, and this was in Boras at the European under-20 champs. I ran 13.38 seconds, which was also a British under-18 record as well, so that was amazing again, and I was not expecting that at all. The bronze medal at the time were lovely little nuggets of unexpected joy. I really wanted to make the final in that competition, but I didn't expect to come out with as much as I did. That 13.38 actually put me number 1 under 18 in Europe and number 4 under 18 in the world, I believe. So yeah, that was just a really special moment and really fruitful moment as well. And I just want to touch, actually, Sally Gunnell is a legend, as the question suggests. And after breaking her record, I reached out to her, and she was the most welcoming and accommodating and friendly, kind, knowledgeable person, and she really was a truly positive figure for me to look up to, and she should probably go on that list of people that inspires me, because she really is such a wonderful woman and a great person to engage with and interact with, and I'm really grateful to her. Have you faced any injuries during your career to date? If so, how did you physically, but more importantly, mentally overcome them? So I smile while saying injuries because yes, I really have. A season hasn't gone by for me where I haven't experienced at least 1 or 2 injuries, which is a lot. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that injuries are part and parcel of being an athlete. That's something you have to accept, but that doesn't mean that it's also not down to you to help prevent things. So I remember at Wiltshire Council's gala dinner, one of them, they're wonderful events actually, really enjoy them, and great evenings to meet really influential and special people. One time I spoke to Roger Black, who was just an absolute beacon of knowledge, and he really strengthened that point for me, that injuries are part and parcel of your life if you're going to pursue being an athlete, but you do play a role in how often you get them. So I understand completely now that prevention is absolutely key, and it's become part of my daily routine. The way I fuel my body, the way I treat my body, warming up, cooling down, flexibility, hydration, sleep, recovery, it's all so important, and things that I really take much more seriously than I did. I'm still young, I'm only 17, but I need to definitely act up before I achieve these great things. I want to act like I am going to achieve them, and then hopefully I will. So acting like I'm not going to get injuries will hopefully help me get fewer. I think also in terms of the mental side of it, you need to understand that injuries is a time for growth and personal development. It's a time for reflection and understanding what went wrong. Did you push your body past your limits too far? It's just about understanding yourself as a person and comprehending what your body can manage. And I personally cope with injuries knowing that I'm going to come back stronger after them, because to date I haven't yet failed to do so. So you're going to come back stronger from it. It's all part and parcel of it. What did it feel like getting your first GB vest? Well, this is not an exaggeration to say it was a dream come true. Since I decided I wanted to be an athlete, I, as is my nature, always strive for the top. So I want to be a GB athlete. That's always what I've wanted to do. It was surreal for me to achieve that dream so early on. I was only 15, so I'd only really had the dream for kind of 4 years. And to have achieved it so soon was amazing. But again, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm actually doing this. So my first competition was in 2018, European Under-18 Champs in Győr, Hungary. As I had said, I was 15, so I was the youngest on the team. I didn't know anybody. It was quite scary. I went into the competition ranked something like 13th or 14th, something like that. So again, a spot in the final would have been incredible. And I ended up coming 5th, and that was in a new PB and an age 15 British record, and it just blew me away. It was such an incredible, positive experience, and made me realise that I can do this. I need to keep working hard. I can't get complacent, but this can happen for me. The next time I represented Great Britain was at the under 20 Mannheim International Gala. So I flew out to Germany, and this was straight after my GCSEs, and I competed in that, and I actually won that competition, and I ran 13:51, I believe, which, as I'd won the under 20 national championships in England, those two performances combined meant that I qualified for the European Under 20 Champs in Borås, Sweden, and that is where I won the unexpected bronze medal. As if by magic, I actually have it here. I just thought I'd show it to you. It's an incredible symbol of just hard work, and it's so special. It's really unexpected. It's a lovely medal. It's also engraved on the back. 100-meter hurdles women. It's a really special thing for me. It's my first international medal. I won it when I was 16, and I'm incredibly proud of this. I love the colour as well. Obviously you always strive for gold, but I love this colour. It's probably my favourite of all the colours. And yeah, although I'm not a very materialistic person, so it's more the memories and the achievement is what sticks with me, but just having a little symbol that embodies all the hard work, all the struggles, all the overcoming difficulties is really special to have. The next question, of which kind of ties in, what are your long-term ambitions? So this is going to be quite a short answer. Simply, one day I want to be Olympic champion, and I'm certainly going to work hard every single day to try and make that happen. Told you it was going to be short. How do you balance training and schoolwork? Well, this is incredibly challenging. My questions are blowing away because it's windy. This is incredibly challenging to do. Both years that I've gone and represented Great Britain, so travelled internationally, I was studying or completing for my GCSEs, and as I say, it was incredibly difficult. For me, it was about focusing on what I didn't know. I didn't have loads of time. I was training an awful lot, travelling, so I really needed to make every revision session worthwhile, and that involved planning my time and being very disciplined. When I chose to revise, I revised. I think a really important thing actually for student athletes is being able to split your time. When you're revising, don't think about your sport, and when you're doing your sport, focus solely on that. Don't think about your revision. It's easier said than done, I completely understand, but just being able to have that divide, I think, was really, really healthy for me. Another thing, when I was actually carrying out my exams, I remained happy and content, and I didn't focus on things that I hadn't done. I just had to focus on what I did do, the revision that I did do, and just be, as I say, happy with that. And also another thing for me is it's never too late to do some work, to do some revision. I didn't always do an awful lot of work leading up into my GCSEs, but as we kind of got a bit closer, I then really stepped it up. And I think the fact that I didn't feel like, oh no, it's too late, really, really helped. So I actually came out with 9 A stars and 2 A's at GCSE, which I'm very, very proud of, because I was doing that simultaneously whilst qualifying and competing at the European Under-20 Champs. So I was really proud of that, and I'm currently doing A-levels at the moment. In my first year, well, I've just finished my first year. I'm doing maths, biology and PE, and I'm also writing an EPQ as well, and they're going really well. I'm taking similar qualities of discipline, organisation and just being content with the work I'm doing forwards, and as I say, they're going really well, and this extra time that we've had, I've certainly made the most of it. So we're now on to the final question. How have you coped with lockdown, and how has this affected your training? Well, I'm not someone that's used to having lots of time. I'm usually a very, very busy person, and this surplus of time has actually been so useful. I've managed to keep fit. Oh, my notes are blown away again. I've managed to keep fit and healthy, and technically I have stayed in touch with the hurdles, and I'm actually really proud of myself, of how I've kept in shape. It's been difficult, it's been a challenge, but this whole time for everybody has been a time of adapting and overcoming struggles. So we've all had to do it, and I'm proud of how I've approached this situation. I've focused on things that I may have previously overlooked, just due to a lack of time and energy, and I've given more attention to things like my diet and hydration and my recovery and flexibility, because as I touched on, they're so important for preventing injuries, and they're going to hopefully help me reach my potential. So thank you very much for all of your questions. I really enjoyed answering them all. So now we're going to move on to the challenge that I have set you. The challenge I'm going to set for you this week is to create a 20-second hurdle drill routine. Now this is loosely inspired by a warm-up that I would do before training or a competition. Now I don't expect you to all have a hurdle lying around, as for most of lockdown I did. My go-to substitute was this charming hay bale here. You can do these kind of movements, just improvise. I'm going to give you a little bit of inspiration of some of the moves you could include, but I want to see as much creativity as possible. So you could go for a little bent leg, even a straight leg. If you so wished, you could even do a little spin and do the other side, or you could even go for a jump over the top. Let's see it. Thank you so much for taking part in my challenge. I hope you enjoyed doing so, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of your responses. I have really enjoyed sitting down today. I really have. Answering your questions has been a lot of fun, and I hope that the responses were somewhat helpful and insightful for you. Next week you have British elite gymnast Jessica Dakin to look forward to, so definitely get your questions in ready for her. That's a fantastic opportunity for you all to really get an insight into the life of an incredible athlete. Gymnasts are all just inspiring. I can only do a roly-poly, and only just at that, so I truly am just in awe of those athletes. In the meantime, if you can't wait till next week, do check out the Active Wiltshire and Active Community pages, as they have a ton of information and activities for you to engage with. So stay safe and keep happy. Thank you. Bye. So yesterday I mentioned the Star Track coach Rob, and he wanted to get involved in my challenge, so I'm going to have a little look at how he did. Okay, first of all, his jacket deserves an award. I've never seen such a bright jacket. It's a very powerful display here. Clearly he's not weighted down by his lockdown haircut. Incredibly agile as well. Very, very good. I love the creativity of his makeshift hurdles, but perhaps to improve he could have been a little bit more versatile in his movements. But all in all, a very good effort, Rob, so thank you very much. Rob's given it a go, now it's your turn. Make sure you post the videos on Active Wiltshire. Thank you.